Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of What's Your Story? Tonight we are sitting down with one of our local favorite authors and a whole host of other things, Jen Comeau. So welcome to our show.
Thank you, Mary Lou. It's great to be here.
Yes, we know how busy you are, so we're very appreciative of your time. And speaking of time, you've been spending some time writing these last few years.
Yes, I have.
But how about if we start with way back? Where were you born?
The Wayback Machine.
Yes.
Kennebunkport, New York, which is a suburb of Buffalo.
All right.
Yeah. So spent like 33 years living and working in that area,
Mhm.
Western New York.
Mm-hmm. So, and you have one of the most interesting backgrounds for a woman. I mean, not to stereotype, but you've really you've had some pretty cool experiences. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess what I'd say is starting with out of high school.
Mhm.
So I was a pretty dreamy, bookish kind of kid,
Mhm.
pretty typical. We'd go to the library every Saturday morning, and
Yeah.
we were allowed 4 books, not 5, because mom could only count, there was 8 kids.
8 kids. I was going to say, how many?
Yeah.
Wow.
So she could do the math if she knew everybody had the same amount of books
Smart
every
lady.
Saturday. But so out of high school,
Mhm.
I went into engineering because at the time they were looking for women in particular and more well-rounded
Mhm.
people. And so as opposed to the real nerdy egghead type of people who
Yeah.
had been in engineering. So I applied for a school called General Motors Institute. It's now Kettering University in Flint, Michigan.
Wow.
And just because I got good grades and
Yeah.
my parents were 8 kids, you sort of worry about just getting a secure job.
Right. Right.
And so they're like, go be an engineer. They want women.
That's wonderful.
So I, who won all the English awards in high school, said, okay. And I did. Yeah. And I spent 10 years at General Motors and in a hot, noisy forge plant, supervising men who I thought were really old at 55.
Were you on the line at all, or it was more supervisory?
It was supervisory because with an engineering, a degree right out of school, you kind of jumped right into supervisory.
Yeah.
My first job was a tool and die coordinator. That's what so the machining part of the factory.
Was it loud?
Very loud. Big, huge creosote floors.
Yeah.
Noisy. You had to wear the hard hat, the steel toes, the safety glasses. And at the time, I had a really high, squeaky voice because I was young. So I had to train my voice to lower itself almost an octave just to sort of fit in with that masculine environment.
Yeah. Was that hard? I mean, supervising men or?
Yeah. It was hard because you don't know what you don't know. I mean, I'm right out of, so I have all the degrees, but I didn't grow up fixing things or any of that. And so I had to I spent several times crying in the ladies' bathroom, just sort of, okay, get through this, get through this.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of people resented me
Yeah.
as a woman, having the degree. A lot of the trades, they went through their whole apprenticeship, which is multiple years.
Right.
And they would think, well, she doesn't have an apprenticeship. She just has that degree. And she must have a parent who's in GM. How did she get in? All that stuff.
Right,
which is not true, but.
right. So how did you end up in Kennebunkport?
I married the love of my life, John Comeau. And I was living in California at the time, so was John.
Yeah.
And we decided we wanted to get married here because John's been coming here since he was in vitro. His grandfather bought a place in 1943 or 4.
Yeah.
Had a lobster boat in the Cape Porpoise Harbor.
Okay.
And so he loves Maine. And of course, I'm from Buffalo, New York, so that's like East Coast. West Coast was fun. It was cool, but it never felt like home.
Yeah.
So we planned the whole wedding here, and it was at the, it's torn down now.
The Shaman?
Yes.
Okay.
It's at the Shaman Inn. It was one of the last weddings, actually. And while we were on a honeymoon, we were honeymooning at Isle of Ho, while we were honeymooning, he got a job offer from somewhere in Dover, New Hampshire.
Oh, wow.
And that was like the universe said,
sealed
you know
the deal.
What? This is possible.
That's great.
And so he said it was within 6 weeks of us getting married that he had secured a new job. I had secured a job where I could then leave California, and we moved.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Yeah.
So, and you have been, so you're a singer, songwriter,
right?
And you have a beautiful voice, by the way.
Thank you.
So, and you also have been doing a little bit of writing.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us about how all of that came to be?
Yeah, I guess I was always a wordsmith in my corporate job.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't work in marketing, the marketing guys would come and say, hey, can you read this copy?
Yeah.
And I always had, my mother was someone who, she was like an inspiration junkie. She would just quote all of these incredible little ditties.
Yeah.
And get us all excited about the written word. And she would talk about Dale Carnegie, Dale Carnegie. If you know how to make a speech and tell people what they want to hear, and then tell them what they heard, and all that. So she's the one that sort of got me into the power of words. Yeah. And so probably it was once we moved here. So we moved here in 1999.
Okay.
And I thought, you know what? I need to step back from this corporate crazy nonsense. Yeah. It took me 10 years to do that. So I'm a slow learner over here. But I did, and I finally sort of gave myself enough space to start writing. And the first thing, well, I wrote a manuscript that I haven't published yet, but the one that I just started writing now, it was 2015, is this book. So 10 years.
Wow.
Of this project. And it's set in 1820s Ireland, and a coming of age tale. And maybe you've read it, I don't know. It's only been out 3 weeks.
I am halfway through it, and I am really enjoying it.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I'm so glad.
Yes.
So yeah, it's got magical realism, and it has original songs, because I just didn't think I could write a book set in Ireland without having music. It's sort of, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So that was the first, that was the first project. But of course, along the way, writing songs and everything else, I have this ear trained to pick up little song lines or lyrics, and it's either going to be a song, or maybe it'll be a poem or something. So one day I was sitting under a tree in my favorite cemetery, which is Hope Cemetery. Love that big, huge beech tree that's there. And it was a beautiful day, fall, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, oh, is there a place in the sun I can skip, roll, or run, then rest neath the tree, hear the breeze in her leaves? It was like, just came to me, this lyric. And so I paid attention, and then I finished writing, and I wrote this rhymey book. And I loved Dr. Seuss. I mean, it's just amazing what he was able to write, the made up words and things like that. So I sat down and just wrote this, and someone said, that sounds like it would be a great children's book. I really kind of just wrote it as a little rhymey thing. And so I thought, wow, okay, let's see if I can find a publisher or find an illustrator and go from there. So it's been quite a...
Do you have an agent?
I don't have an agent. I have a small indie publisher, 12 Willows Press. Yeah. And I would love an agent, but querying is it is a lesson in how to bounce back from reject after reject after reject.
Yeah.
So I just decided, and frankly, I don't know if I'm the best quality material for an agent, because
don't say that.
They want you to manufacture books. Yeah. And I'm such a creative. I want to write a play next. I want to write songs. I want to create workshops. So it's sort of like, I don't want to be on that treadmill.
Okay.
In some ways, I want to be captain of my own life.
I understand.
Because I was on that treadmill for corporate and stuff.
Yeah. So now, A Moon in All Things, something just happened with that book.
It was this one.
Oh, that one. So I'm sorry. The inside of me.
Yes. Last night, I got an email from Nautilus, which is the Books for a Better World award, and I won a gold award for The Inside of Me.
That is so great.
Which is it's a nationwide competition, and there are 2 golds in this category, children's illustration, and I won.
That is so great.
I'm over the moon, really.
Yeah.
And Susie Linden, I just have to shout out to Susie. Her illustrations in this book are just extraordinary. Yeah. And she just worked so well together. She's incredible. And I did want the humans sort of decentered. Mm-hmm. What I really wanted was the landscape.
More of nature and
because it's about what happens on the inside when we go outside.
Right.
So I just wanted them to kind of like be in the landscape and let the landscape speak for itself. And she totally got that. And the other thing that she did, which I love, is there's a little guy in a wheelchair, and is one of the three. And on the front cover, his shadow does not have a wheelchair.
Oh, interesting.
She just intuited that in this little guy's mind. He doesn't have a wheelchair.
Yeah. Wow.
So wasn't that ingenious? I just thought that was amazing.
But a moon in all things, there were a couple of things that happened with Kirkus. I think that's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a really good review in that.
Very strong review, and they're brutal.
Yeah.
They are brutal. So I thought, I was hoping for a starred review, and I found out that 2% of indie books get a star.
Yeah.
So I had to just say, okay, girl, it's your debut novel. So. Yeah. But they called it atmospheric and beguiling and had a lot of good things to say.
Have you thought about audio?
I have.
Okay.
I would love to get sponsorship from a company in Ireland to do a real live Irish audio.
Because I think you have a beautiful voice for that.
Thank you.
But you're thinking you need the authenticity,
the genuine,
of it.
Yes,
okay,
yeah, and in Ireland, just like in America, depending on where you go, the accent's very different. So it would have to be the Galway Bay area of Ireland. It would be like asking someone from Alabama to do a Maine accent. Wouldn't sound so good.
So besides writing, you're involved in a few different organizations. Can you talk a little bit about? I know that you are a lover of the trust.
Yes. Yeah, the conservation trust.
Yeah. And the labyrinth there. I think there's something special that you.
I was a part of that committee that built the labyrinth during COVID, and that was so rewarding because it got the community together. Everybody's got a stone in their backyard practically in Maine. So people brought a stone or were able to like sponsor the purchase of a stone.
Okay.
Either in memory of someone or to honor someone. So they did not have to, living or dead.
Yep.
And so it just became this, like people could both identify, oh, that's my stone, but also it was part of this whole.
Oh, yeah.
This whole beautiful, thing. And you can see it, the drone shot of that labyrinth is beautiful.
And that's out at the property at Gravelly Brook Road. Yep.
57 Gravelly Brook. Yeah. And it's within walking distance of my house, which I love.
Oh, that's so great.
It's a really special place. Try to spend a lot of time there and do my forest bathing. I do these, what's called forest bathing. It's not walking in a bathing suit in the woods. It's just bathing in trees emit, which is all these invisible phytoncides that have almost like a narcotic effect on the body, lower the blood pressure, lower heart rate, boost creativity, like tons of things. And so that actually walking in woods sort of saved my life from being so burnt out in corporate consulting. I just began to like slow down.
When do you do these? Do you have like groups that will go out with you?
Yes.
Or?
I offer different events on my website.
Yep.
So I usually go to places like the monastery. They have a bathroom. The trust has a bathroom. And also what I love is that Timber Point Trail.
Yeah.
That parking's a little difficult, but for smaller groups, we go there because what I love is you go through the forest, but you get out to the coast. Oh. And you can hear the beach. You can hear the kids screaming and playing at the beach from, just across that little inlet. And it's very nostalgic and it's very, it's like you get the best of both worlds, the ocean and the woods, the same walk.
That's magical.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
So that, and getting small children, I would think, involved with that on a, to get them enjoying nature and appreciating nature is, is probably
I mean, it's really important because we all know that book, The Last Child in the Woods, we're so disconnected from nature and so many ways that children are just fed, technology.
Right.
In fact, I'm going to be doing a children's event at Through the Trees, which is it's a homeschooling, unschooling organization in Kittery.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing that. Sorry, I think it's in Freeport. And I'm doing school visits where we're bringing the outdoors in with the kids and letting them explore, and really using feeling words like, how do you feel when you're outside? And they just, they light right up.
I bet.
Yeah.
And they probably come up with some pretty amazing reasons and feelings.
Yeah.
So what do you and John like to do when you're not working?
When we're not working. And we do a lot of hiking and walking outdoors. We love to be outdoors.
Yeah.
We have
You have a dog, right?
Effervescent dog, Bridie, which is an Irish nickname for Bridget. And she is, she keeps us laughing. John is a big VW camper guy. So he's got one of those campers, the old Westphalia things. And so, we like to just do little go on a picnic somewhere along the coast.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, and do that sort of thing. And I love to cook. I used to be someone who could not cook at all. My mother was a great baker, not so much. She was cafeteria food style. Sorry, Mom. 10 people to feed, 2 dogs and a cat, whatever. It's like, here you go. But so I started by baking with my mom in the kitchen as a kid. I was the kid that baked with Mom. And then at one point I decided, well, baking is not going to help my hips in any way, shape, or form. So maybe I should learn how to cook instead. Yeah.
So siblings around?
Not close enough.
No, huh?
Yeah, my 7 siblings were all scattered to the winds.
Oh,
it's funny because all my cousins that we grew up with in Buffalo, they all stayed in Buffalo. And I have one brother that's still in the Buffalo area. We do go home, though, because we've got a family picnic that happens every year.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we try to, and our family tries to get together. We always spent Christmases together. Even if everybody moved away and had kids of their own, Santa only came to my parents' house.
Gotcha.
So it was great. And we're pretty close. Politically, we're split. And so there is hope. There is hope to be able to stay in relationship and stay loving family, even though there may be some differences there.
I think a lot of families are like that. So, and does John have a big family, or?
He's got a brother. He had 2 brothers. One is deceased, and so he has a brother and a sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must be interesting for him to be part of your big clan.
Yeah. He loves it. John is a very affable man. He's very easy to get along with.
So are you writing your next project?
I'm starting my sequel. The sequel to the book stands alone.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of wants to know, like, okay, what's the next chapter when she gets older, whatever.
Yeah.
So I am starting that.
Good for you.
And it's a little daunting, to be honest. This one took 10 years, and it didn't take me 10 years to write it. The process took 10 years.
Yeah.
I took probably 2.5 years to write it. Yeah. And then started querying for an agent and all that, and found this wonderful publisher, 12 Willows, and but this idea of being in that scary unknown place, because I'm not a plotter. Ken Follett will take 50 pages and plot out his whole novel, and then begin to write. I'm sort of I want to use my listening, my intuition, the outdoors. I want nature. I want everything to inform what happens, and that means you have to kind of be in an unknowing place.
Right.
And so just the life lesson for me in this whole project, as a former project manager, project managers, you have to know all the steps, you have to mitigate all the risks. Change is bad, change costs money, all that stuff was programmed in my head. And so when I started the writing project, I had to kind of like unprogram that need to know and all those things that,
Well, I'm looking forward to Memorial Day weekend because I've got a little bit of time to sit and finish this book, and I'm going to do that. So if I wanted to buy a copy, because you were kind enough to give me a copy, if I wanted to buy a copy for a friend, where would I go?
You can go anywhere it's convenient for you. That's what I say. I sell them on my website. And it's at bookshop.org, which is a great nonprofit, very supportive. It uses local bookstores to do the fulfillment. So you could find it here at Lupin Books. They're carrying it locally in town. Mail It Unlimited has it at their place. It's also, of course, on Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble.
Great.
It's at Sherman's, the main bookstores.
I do.
Print in Portland's carrying it. So,
that's awesome.
Fair amount of local bookstores, which is always what I prefer.
That is lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Well, we wish you the best of luck with this.
Thank you.
And we can't wait for the next. But, we can wait.
Okay.
We can wait. No pressure. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you. And I want to say, Mary Lou, thank you. Because you have spoiled us in this little community library. And I'm like, even get a little verklempt. You're so easy to work with. You're generous. You're imaginative. You're can-do. I just hope you know what a treasure you are.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's nice to hear because it's very nice to hear. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Receive.
All right.
Receive.
Okay. I will receive. So
because we're grateful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
May these last few weeks be filled with people saying thank you and expressing their own gratitude.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome. My goal was to make you cry. Darn it, I didn't quite do it.
I'm holding them back, let me tell you. So, no, thank you. And thanks for sitting down with us. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah.
And thanks to Mike Kelly, our executive producer. And thank you all for being with us tonight. And we'll see you back here next time for another episode of What's Your Story?